Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judge Mo. Is Kobe Mainoo actually moving to Chelsea? Do Chelsea need a midfielder or a striker at the current moment? We got Nina to talk about that as well. Nicholas Jackson, his purple patch is over. What are the problems with Chelsea with Maresca? We'll hear from Nina as well. Marmoush is joining City. He chose City after a lot of people said that he won't join that plastic club, as people said, and people commented on LB's video before, and people commented on my video before that Marmoush is not joining City. It looks like he's joining Man City. Do Man City need a forward, or they actually should be looking for a midfielder? That is the question. Liverpool cracks are showing. Husam is worried. He released a video the other day about worrying signs. We'll talk about that as well. I put Virgil van Dijk on the thumbnail because Liverpool have been conceding lots of goals lately. Their defense is not as good as we have seen in the beginning of the season. Is that cracks showing, or just a flash in the pan? 2 games in a row, Liverpool have not won. Against Spurs yesterday, it's only 1-0. Liverpool will come back and beat Spurs, but that is just worrying signs. We all know that Liverpool will go to the final to face Newcastle, who beat Arsenal. Jess is joining us. She got the timing wrong, which is my fault for confusing Jess yesterday. But listen, hit that like button if you joined us. We'll talk about Arteta on borrowing time, as Dan Potts did a video the other day, said that Arteta is on borrowing time. Are they losing the faith of the fans in the stadium? We'll talk about that as well. But listen, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's get to 100 likes right off the bat. Over 100 people joined. We just started the show. And let me do the super chat, of course, from Ryan, 1610. Big up everyone apart from that fraud Husam. I don't know why you have a vendetta with Husam. Ryan, I don't know why. Nina's the only good thing about Chelsea. There are a lot of good things about Chelsea, including Caicedo and Cole Palmer. The bad results. Are you turning into a Chelsea fan, Ryan? The bad results, and already we have fans writing the season off. Liverpool are top of the league and top of the Champions League. Have some shame. We will beat Spurs in the second leg. Virgil van Dijk is the best there has ever been. We'll talk about that. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Appreciate you. Jess is here, of course, to talk about Arteta. Listen, Kelk wanted to talk about the Super Cup first. What did you want to say?
Just want to say, hold that. Captain America dunking on your team.
Captain America did nothing. It was Rafael Leao and
what are you
Abraham.
talking about? Pulisic, he scored a goal.
He was anonymous the whole game.
Doesn't matter. Did the damage, didn't he, Mo, in the end?
Tammy Abraham and Rafael Leao.
You had
Rafael Leao need to leave that club as soon as possible, to be honest with you. he is too good for AC Milan. He's too good for AC Milan, to be honest. He's so good. He would cook at Liverpool on that left side instead of Diaz or Gakpo. But listen, how are you guys? How's everyone doing? Jess, how is California? You away from the fires?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think you're using your mic.
Huh?
I don't think you're using your mic. This is coming through the computer.
You think so? Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Better.
Yeah, I'm away from the fires. I'm not super close, but yesterday it looked like apocalyptic outside. It was like all that big smoke. It was like black. There's ashes coming down when I went outside. So it's insane. Yeah, it's I think people forget that not everybody that lives in LA is well off. And so there's a lot of people that have lost everything. And so yeah, thoughts and prayers to everybody that's really going through it for sure. But I'm fine. So yeah.
Okay, good to hear. But you're not fine with Arsenal, though.
No, I am not.
No,
They do
you're
not care about my mental well-being. Clearly.
They don't. I want to start with one thing, but before we go on and talk about that, I know Sam has a show with LB and Ahmed later to talk about the title race, but I really wanted to ask the panel and everyone in the chat as well, are Liverpool showing cracks? Does anybody think that Liverpool are showing cracks?
Not really. Ish.
There's been certain things in some of the games recently that have shown you that they're not impeccable, they're not perfect, and there are certain weaknesses there. But you know, like in every team, should there have been maybe the reaction that there was from the majority of Liverpool fans yesterday? I think maybe a bit extreme in terms of kind of the whole games. But I think Liverpool did look really lackluster in attack. I think that even though after the triple substitution in the second half, they looked a little bit more lively, I still think they were quite lackluster in attack. And it was one of those games where I don't think they just would have scored for the life of them. But yeah, no, there are certain things that have shown us that Liverpool can, you know, drop points. They can lose games, even though they haven't. In what was the run where you haven't lost a game? 24. There you go. And
fucking mad. 24
good
games.
run.
Well, that's over now.
You know what? 24 games under a manager that just arrived at the club. Do you guys know how mad this is?
yeah,
A new manager.
Like
And goes
3
on
or 4 world-class players. That does help.
especially with how
let's put it on the players now. Yes, not the manager. Let's not give the manager credit. Yes.
No, I give him a lot of credit, but it does help. He did walk into a good situation.
Sure did.
Like he didn't walk into Chelsea.
I actually disagree with Nina a little bit about the lackluster in attack. Liverpool have scored 2 goals against Man United. It's the defense that actually let them down. Yesterday, Liverpool created a lot of chances yesterday. They created enough chances to win the game. But
that
I know
last shot, that last ball, that last kind of thing there was just, it was lacking. It wasn't that full kind of potency you see from their shots usually in games. That's the kind of specific bit I meant by lackluster in yesterday's game specifically.
No, what do you think, Husam? What was your reaction yesterday? Okay, let me ask you the question. Were you like the majority of Liverpool fans when they did the impersonation of Arsenal fans, we were robbed? Was that your reaction? I couldn't watch anything yesterday. I watched the game like in and out of the game.
I wish I covered NBA instead or something. This is
Oh my God, it's one game. You guys are gonna wax them like 5-0 at Anfield.
Can I answer the question?
Have a moment in the sun.
All a mask there, Husam.
That's the highlight of their season right there. Just let them.
Can I answer the question first? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate if I can answer the question about my own club. Yes, the cracks are showing. I've been saying it all season. This is not new. That's why I've still been doing Arsenal and City hate watches, even while being however much ahead, because I know we're gonna drop points again. This is reality. Injuries now to centre backs. You know, I would like to introduce you to Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies. You know, bad memories for the men in red who were also top of the league at that time. You know, very bad memories. But thank God Van Dijk is not out at the end of the season like that year. So maybe that's the thing that makes the difference. But I really don't think we can win the league without making signings, because there are enough signs to tell you that there is a collapse on the horizon if we don't take advantage. And I just want to say one thing: if Manchester City win this league on Liverpool and Arsenal's head tops, we both need to liquidate and stop attempting to win league titles. Just give it up at this point. Just listen. Just go for the Carabao Cup and FA Cup. That's the new Premier League. Carabao Cup is the new Premier League. FA Cup is the new Champions League. And just give it up, because there is a scenario from hell of which City win 15 in a row, because you don't want to know why, because they're capable of it. They are. You listen. You
Have
can
you
say
seen
or
our
no all you
midfield?
want. I know you're capable of it. So for me,
Have you seen our midfield?
I don't care. I don't care. You're
I'm
Manchester
Mr. I
City.
hate watch. Then
You're
you know
Manchester
how terrible
City.
our
You will
midfield
find
is,
the
and we're
solution.
not linked
You're
to a
Manchester
single
City. You will
midfielder.
find a solution. You've always found a solution. You're Man City. That's just how it goes. So for me,
Our solution isn't playing this season, so
because we play Spurs at Anfield in the second leg, I think us and Arsenal are in different positions from that perspective, because Spurs come to Anfield in the Carabao Cup second leg and they're only 1-0 up. And Spurs' defense can't hold on to 1-0 lead.
I wouldn't be worried if I was you.
I'm not worried from a Carabao Cup perspective. I think we will get to the final, and I think we will be facing Newcastle, to be honest with you. So I think it's going to be Liverpool, Newcastle, Wembley. My original prediction, I'm not going to change it. Maybe if they won yesterday, like by 3 or 4 goals, I would say, okay, I'm worried. But it's just 1-0, bro. Like we're gonna overturn that deficit.
But yesterday showed something in the league, though. Not in the
Yes, but for the league itself.
Yes, I am not looking at a lot
Yeah,
of
but for the league
Liverpool
itself, we definitely
Yeah.
need signings. Without signings,
Yeah.
I don't think we can win the league.
bro.
Essentially, this is what's happening right now. Liverpool and Arsenal, the battle of the bottle jobs. Whichever one drops less points from now until May wins the league. It's as simple as that. Because we're going to drop points again. Arsenal will drop points again. It's very simple.
No,
There's
Husam,
no-
City cannot,
City are
without
gonna drop
signing a
points
midfielder.
too.
Husam, you know the problem is, City are linked to Marmoush and a centre back. They don't need a forward and they don't need a centre back. They need a midfielder.
Two
They aren't
centre
linked to a
backs
midfielder. They aren't.
Some guy in Brazil just popped up last
They,
night.
they aren't linked to a midfielder. City are not going on a run without signing a midfielder. Then midfield is wide open.
Are they not linked
They
to
aren't.
Ederson?
No,
We're
they're
linked
not.
with Ederson, but
Actually,
I
it's
don't think
died.
they're gonna sell him in January.
They said
yeah.
Atalanta
They're
said
in a title
no.
race.
Yeah.
They're not.
got it.
They've never won the title before, so they're right there. They're not going to sell him. I think they'll sell him in the summer, but not in January.
Yeah, they aren't. I don't think they are.
I think they'll sell him in July or whenever the window opens because of Club World Cup.
Yeah.
But
Thank you, Luke. Guys, hit that.
January.
Let's get to 100 likes. There's 300 people in the house. Hit that like button. Also, all these people's channels in the description. Nina, Husam, and Jess. She knows Arsenal as well. Nina and Husam, at least they have their channel names with their names. Jess has She Knows Arsenal, which is known enough. But it's in the description, people. Go and subscribe. Listen, for Liverpool, I don't know what Jess thinks about Liverpool because they are in a title race with them. I think it's a 2-horse race. 2-horse. You are in a title race. Drink your coffee and wake up. You are
First
in
of
a
all, I
title
appreciate that how big that mug is. Honestly, as a coffee drinker, I appreciate a mug that
I don't
big.
play.
the
This is-
biggest mug I've seen in my
I
life.
don't play.
Did you fill it up or is it like half full?
It's like up to here.
Okay, I respect that. You see these big mugs, they're the only ones that like actually wake you up.
Also, I apologize for being late, but I woke up like right on time and I was looking at the messages and I was like, what? I literally just rolled out of bed and sat in this chair. So I need this.
same.
I'm like, I'm really
Blame-
talking
Really good for someone who just rolled out of bed.
Guys, this is Mo's fault. Completely Mo's fault, by the way. He's
Yeah.
You know
blaming
whose
us.
fault it is? It's your
He
fault.
changed the timing like 3-4 times. It's insane. It's insane. And he expects us to just have our WhatsApps open. We have a live, Habibi. Anyway, go ahead, Jess. Apologies for Mo's rudeness. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like the title race? We're not in this. We're not in this.
You guys-
Here we go.
Here we go.
Why
We're
won't
not in this.
Arteta play expansive football? I don't get it.
So you're not in the title
We're good
race, and
enough
I'm worried.
defensively.
So who the hell's gonna win it? Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, they're gonna have
Yeah.
a left this season.
That would
It's so
save me some
obvious.
money if they won.
All I know is
Awkward.
it will not be us. We will not be there.
Nottingham Forest winning the league. guys. You heard
Have
it
they
first.
ever won?
This is
it?
the last time. It's the first time I see Jordan Jarrett Bryan. If people know who's that, he's saying now they're admitting. He said on the podcast was Turkish and I think the other guy and Lee Judges. He said that I see now what is going on. I see now why people say we're Spurs. I see now why people think I know what the end is.
Ouch.
Well, this is a disaster. Jordan is one of the people that backed Arteta all along. Years ago, I've been listening to Jordan. I don't know if Jess knows who Jordan is. I've been listening to Jordan for years.
Oh,
He's-
yeah.
he-
Yes, I am.
you know
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Like I've been listening to Jordan. He's only behind the process, and he's always the one who calm down Turkish, calm down lead judges. And now he's like, I know how this ends. It ends without us winning the title. It ends without us winning anything. And it ends with the fans saying next year. This is a disaster for Arsenal. It's a disaster. After 5 years, if the people that are backing Arteta now are like saying, well, we're not going to win anything, it's a disaster, in my opinion. It's after all of this. And I have like in the title say, did Nico, if Arsenal go on and fork the money for Nico Williams, does that save Arsenal's season? Does
But
anybody
can I
think
just
that?
say one thing?
Nico
We're saying
Williams,
all of
hasn't
this.
he only scored like 2 goals this season? I heard he's not having a good season.
No. In terms
Listen,
of
no,
output,
before,
That's
before
all
just
bad.
goes,
So
can we
she
just
can
accept
call it, yeah.
something just to be intellectually honest about this conversation? Ornstein comes out and says Arsenal aren't signing anyone in January, and the same thing for Liverpool. So let's not make hypotheticals where we're going to add players. We must admit that this is the team that we're going to have till the end of the year. This is it now. Everyone we have to accept this. I'm not changing any player, and Jess's team is not changing any player either. This is it. Like, this is the squad, and we have to accept it. And if it doesn't work out, khalas, then it doesn't work out.
I
Like,
mean,
what can I say?
I hate the January transfer window more than anything because it's just like it's just January. And I know that we've signed players in the past, but we never sign the types of players that really push you over the line in a title race. We kind of add a little, and it's not enough. And right now, Arsenal are in the merry-go-round of like, okay, in the summer, we don't have it to go out there and get the striker. It's fine. We'll go with what we have. It's all good. Then we get to January transfer window. Oh, we don't see anyone. There's literally no one. We're blind. We look like Sandra Bullock in the Bird Box or whatever it is with the thing on our face. We can't see anything. There's no one. Literally, Kraba is available. Just saw that like a couple minutes ago. Hello. There's literally
Good luck
somebody
negotiating with
available.
Napoli, though. Oof.
Well,
I
hold on.
mean-
Marmoush was available.
Well,
The
yeah,
guy
I
is
was
literally
just about to-
negotiating in
I'm just about
City.
to get to him. Like, I'm like, there are people available. There's
Marmoush has
literally
rejected
no-
Arsenal, though. And
What?
Liverpool.
I don't think well, you can't reject somebody that ain't at the table. Yeah. I mean, we're not
Great to him, though.
but I think that, Arsenal just, I don't know if we're scant or we
The
just
stuff I'm seeing said he only wanted to go to City, but maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe
Yeah, but
maybe
that's
Mo
not
hasn't been
the,
telling you.
every club
the
does this,
other day when we were talking about Declan Rice, you were like, I was like, well, he wanted to come to Arsenal. You know how it is. When you're
Yeah,
not
no, I
a
get it.
player, you're the only option.
That's fine.
So but if other teams had come in, he would have probably considered other things. But I get you. I just feel like Arsenal are just doing the thing. They're just doing the thing where they're like, oh,
What is
well,
the
this
thing?
cool. The thing is, we'll get top 4 and it's all right,
But is that good enough? Because just raise the
Oh.
ambitions to challenge for the title this year. And I think that Arsenal need to show that. I actually think that if they go, obviously January windows are tough because no one's selling their best players mid-season. Teams
Yeah.
can afford to negotiate further and push you to the edge as well if you really, really want their player. And I think that teams have to be strategic and sensible with how they spend, maybe with the summer window in mind, in case there is that number 9 then available and that kind of player that you do need then. But I think you also have to look at the present day, and Arsenal, I think, need to kind of add in someone in their front line that's going to inject some life into that attack. And I mean, goals for output. I think someone that is actually going to, yes, create for you, because I think you have lacked that a little bit lately, and score as well, though. I think, you've seen Jesus kind of save you in a couple games. He was almost kind of coming out of nowhere. Kai Havertz has been very, very lackluster for you as well. You look at Trossard, you look at Martinelli, maybe a game here and there. Saka's injured, Maneri's injured. So where is that kind of player that can add something into your attack where you are scoring those goals? I think you need that. If you want to go push all the way, challenge for that title, I think Arsenal need that. So I don't think you can actually afford to go without making at least that one sign-in, whoever that player might be. But I think output for you is necessary, because even I look at
You need a striker.
But
well, striker, of course, but the market is scarce for strikers right now, and obviously, yeah, you want Isak,
Osimhen's
dream on, like
there.
that's not going to happen right now. And I think that you still have to be mindful. You have to be realistic with yourselves. I think you do have to splash some money on at least one attacking player that can come in and inject something into it. I even said last season, and I think partly why you kind of crashed out of Europe as well when you did. I think a striker was still obviously necessary back then. I mean, we've needed a striker. A lot of teams need a striker, but when goals come from across the whole team, it's a lot easier to kind of brush that under the carpet. But when that's not been happening lately, especially kind of towards the end of 2024, excuse me, I think that problem becomes a lot more evident, and you can't ignore it because there's so many games where you look at it and you think, well, okay, you've created a little bit more, but and you saw it against Newcastle as well. It almost looked like you're looking at the bench. Is there someone that can come on and bring that on? No, not really. And even if you compare the front line to Arsenal's to Liverpool's, you look at Liverpool's starting lineup against Tottenham and you think, okay, that's a pretty strong lineup. But you look at the bench and you see how many first teamers are still on that bench and can come on, like the triple substitute they made to inject something on. And goals do come from that front line as well that got substituted on as well, you know, like Diaz, etc. And I don't think that's quite the same for Arsenal. So that's where you're separated. So if you are competing with Liverpool, I think that's where you need to look to make that reinforcement.
But we've needed this for 2 summers now. Like 2
seasons. I know.
That's why these like continual conversations just feel very like, you know, after the 2022-2023 season, we needed an attacker. And we went out and spent 65 million on Kai Havertz, you know, who solves neither one of our issues at left center mid or striker. Then fast forward to another summer, we get Calafiori, Marino, and Sterling. So I just don't, it's like, I obviously, like, I get it. Like, I'm looking at, I said at the beginning of the season that our attack is probably the 5th or 6th best in the league, and I got cooked. And I stand on that. The depth, the quality, the talent, like, it's just not there. And that's not that these players are not decent. When they're playing at their best, they're fine. But when we're under stress and we need it, they don't have it. They don't do it. So I know what we're going to do in this January transfer window. Act like we can't see any players. I'm not bringing anybody, but I'm trying to understand how, if Arsenal were, you know, operating at like whatever, we're not near PSR. That's what they're saying. Like, we're fine. We're not under any sort of financial, you know, we're not under any sort of financial stress. Then why is it that you can't just pop up and get somebody? Why is it that you don't have the scouts? Is you can't see the talent? Like, what is going on? Because everybody around us, Aston Villa, Chelsea might still get somebody. I don't think Liverpool are not going to get anybody, but we know what their T is. Man City is going to get someone. You know, everybody around us is going to improve, and we're just going to be sitting there doing nothing. So I hear you.
Why? There has to be a reason for this. Guys, there has to be a reason for this.
It's the ownership.
Because the problem is staring Arteta at the face. You need a personality up top, apart from a Kai Havertz or a Jesus, because Saka's not there. It's not like it's a hidden problem that needs to be fixed. It's just a one problem that can be fixed with just one signing. And by the way, people say, oh, the striker market is shit. Yeah, you can go for the money for a winger or something. Go for the money for someone that make a difference.
They just have a collection of like purple patch players. They don't have anybody who can consistently do something over the course of a season. It's like somebody will get hot for a couple of weeks and then they go ice cold. You see it a lot in baseball, like a streaky hitter. But yeah, that's how I look at it. Because
Mo's asking the question, like, what is going on?
Jesus,
like, as if we don't know what's going on. Is we both have American owners. That's what's going on.
Habibi, but they fork the money. Just to interject what you guys say. They already spent. Okay, so these owners, the Arsenal owners, aren't owners that are known to not spend money. 100 something
When
on
have they
Havertz.
spent the most money?
Habibi, Havertz, Marino, Calafiori, Timba, Jesus, Zinchenko. What did I say? Calafiori again, Husam. They spent money.
I'll ask you a very simple question without you screaming.
Ooh, good point.
Because you need to understand the context. If Arteta finishes 4th or 3rd for the next 5 years, are they going to sack him?
I don't think so, but I think they will sack him. But I think they will sack him if he loses the fans in the stadium.
Yes, but if they finish 3rd for the next 5 years, they're not going to sack him. Like,
but the fans in the stadium are already losing faith in him.
The fans are still going to the games and nothing's changed, and maybe they win a Carabao Cup here or an FA Cup here. It's not going to change anything. Listen,
they aren't going to win the Carabao Cup.
Ambitious owners is the difference in, look, the difference between Jess's club, my club, and Kelly's club and Nina's club is ambitious owners. And it's not even about where you're from, because Todd Bowley and Iqbali are psychopaths. We know they want to win so bad that they're selling hotels. They're doing everything that they can to try get back to the top. Okay, there are owners out there who want to win, who want to succeed. We will never be that. We will never خلاص يعني until Fenway Sports Group leave the club, we're never going to be the situation. Same thing with the Cronkies. The Cronkies have, by the way, a lot more money than FSG even do. Like, so when it comes to them spending money, they have shown like they've spent money here and there, you know, but it's not really like a team that's doing a rebuild to win a league. And with Arteta, obviously, listen, he's at fault. He's at fault for a lot of these decisions. But at the same time, he has shown the willingness to want to sign a forward player, but like it's not worked out for whichever.
Can I ask you something? I know sorry, Jess. I know you guys are very reasonable. Forget this. Do we think a signing can save Arteta's job? Forget it's Nico. Do we think do you think Arsenal have one problem only? Because now I'm echoing what other people are saying. They say we have a lack of creativity with Odegaard. Our defense don't look assuring like before. Arteta doesn't play expensive football. Like I am now seeing Arsenal fans are saying, well, maybe a striker is not the only thing. Maybe we need completely change of the way we play football, and this guy is not doing it.
No. Okay, so here's what happens when you go through multiple windows and don't improve your team. Then it starts to pile up. We needed a striker or just an attacker in general and a left center mid after the 2022 and 2023 season. We didn't do that. Now Martinelli's off the boil. He was off the boil last season. So this past summer, we needed a left winger. We didn't get that. Now Odegaard's off the boil. Now we need that. We don't have the ability to make sure that we have multiple good players in one position. We don't do that. We never do that. Odegaard has no backup. Saka has no backup. Saliba has no backup. So if one of those players goes off the boil, it's over, or they're injured, it's over. And we don't just get the thing that we need. And it's not like we haven't bought players. We bought the wrong players in the period where we should have gotten a left winger, where we should have gotten a striker, maybe another attacking mid, whatever. We've bought 12 left backs and 5 goalkeepers. So it's a combination of not being ambitious, like Husam said, but then also just being not that great at recruitment and giving Mikel everything that he wants. Instead of somebody standing there and saying, you actually don't need another goalkeeper. How about we go get you a striker? They get him the goalkeeper. Instead of saying, you know what, you don't really need Havertz. You know, he had to convince the board to give him that, instead of somebody saying, no, we're going to go get you, you know, somebody that's better than Xhaka. You know, we're going to go do that. They didn't do it. You know, so it's a clusterfuck. Sorry, excuse my language. It is.
Okay.
Like, it just is, because it's multiple things. And yeah, when you don't do one thing, it piles up. So now we need a bunch of stuff. But just imagine if 2 years ago we had gotten the striker and the left center mid, and last summer we had gotten a left winger. Even if Odegaard was not playing well and we felt like we needed to bring in another attacking mid, we'd have the other things. So we wouldn't be in this position.
But after all these years, we're talking about Arsenal. If I hear Jess, I hear Dan Potts, I feel like these guys are like living in a world where, like, after 5 years, you really you need a rebuild, complete rebuild in terms of like 4 positions. It's sad. It is so sad to hear this, to be honest, because I thought that Arsenal are already going up. Me and Husam.
It's funny hearing Jess speak, because everything Jess saying now, it reminds me of what I said like 3 years ago about my club as well. Yeah, I feel like with Arsenal though, there is something that caused this. Kell is the reason. Manchester City. There was a game 3 years ago that would go on to change Arsenal's life forever. Arsenal were playing attractive, sexy football. They were amazing to watch. They were incredible to watch. They were on the front foot. Martinelli, 15-goal season. Let's go. And then they go to the Etihad and lose 4-1. And then they lose that league title to Manchester City. And it's like from that moment onwards, Arteta's thing became like, I can't lose. He went from a I must win manager to I can't lose manager. And I think that's where he changed. He changed the way he thinks about the sport to begin with. Like, he just completely changed the way that they operate as an institution. And I think with the football club as well, because this isn't just Arteta's fault. You need people around you, even though you're the manager, you need people around you sometimes to challenge you, give you different opinions.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's where Liverpool fall off started 4 years ago, where we stopped challenging Klopp, where we stopped challenging the staff, where we stopped, you know, giving our own opinions. Klopp, you want Branton Godza? No, Habibi. There is Sadio Mane at Southampton. There's Salah at Roma. You sign them, then we are going to be successful. We do that, and we end up being successful. We stopped challenging him. We allowed the club to go sign the likes of Nunes, make multiple different wrong signings. And now, you know, we paid for it essentially with 4 years without a league title. And with an Arsenal perspective, it's very similar right now. Like, I think you need a sporting director that's really smart. But even then, I can't guarantee you that the Cronkies would have winning on the top of their list. I think if I got John W. Henry and Josh Kroenke in a room right now, secretly, and I offered them a contract where they get second or third for the next 10 years straight, they're both signing that shit directly. If I sat with, Sheikh Mansour and I offered them the same thing, he would punch me in the face. If I offered the same thing to Todd Bowley or Iqbali, they would laugh at me.
They wouldn't accept.
That's the reality. Yeah, they wouldn't accept it. But that's the difference between both clubs in essence. Right now, okay, we're sat here. For the last week, you guys have seen Trent being made out to be a villain. Trent is the bad guy. Trent is this, Trent is that. Trent wants to go to Real Madrid. Okay, no problem. So Salah and Van Dijk both told you they want to stay. Where is their contract? Since Trent is the villain. Where is their contract? But people need to understand, PR machines are real. Arsenal's PR machine is a thing. Liverpool's PR machine is a thing, and I know that for a fact because the top content creator in my space, at least, I'm not going to speak for Arsenal, but in my space at least, Liverpool fans had to pay £5 a month as a subscription to watch Klopp's last interview, which should have been made free for all Liverpool fans. But that's the type of connections that they have with the football club. Yeah, that's the reality. Let me land. That's the reality of the situation. So when it comes to the way that the clubs operate, we operate at similar levels. There is a lack of ambition, and this trickles down from ownership group down. With Manchester City, listen, I cuss my club, and I can also say I hate Man City. I do both things. With Manchester City, they said they want to be the class club, the example. Now, how they went about it and how they got to that level is where Husam criticizes Manchester City. But right now, no one can say that Manchester City as an institution has gotten that many transfers wrong, has not done the right thing in the transfer market. Like, of course, they make a mistake here and there, but for the most part, they've done the correct thing. For the most part, they've hired the right people. I mean, you know, we talk about Julian Alvarez as an example. So you're telling me Pep Guardiola was awake at 4 a.m. watching River Plate? No, he was not. But someone came to him, he said, yo, there's a striker that operates this way. He has this qualities. These are the things that, you know, he can do on the football pitch. Do you want him? Those are the type of conversations that take your club forward. And unfortunately, we used to be the model club at that, Liverpool, 4 years ago. And we stopped doing that. And ever since we stopped doing that, it went to the shits. And I feel like it's the same with Arsenal. Because the same way, like, it's not like the managers were awake watching 3rd division of Brazil scouting Martinelli. No, they were not. Like there was a scout that you know about him. And I've spoken to scouts. I've actually, when I was on Spaces, people know this. I've spoken to footballers. I've spoken to scouts. I know how they operate. Every club has a certain amount of scouts in a certain continent. There are certain stuff that you see in FIFA or on games that are actually real. Manchester City have the largest amount of scouts in South America. The largest amount of scouts in South America from any Premier League institution. Like, I think someone told me that, like, I think Manchester City have as many scouts in Brazil as Liverpool have in the whole continent, as an example. So, like, when it comes to these conversations, these are the small things that make a difference in the end. And now I landed to the footballing point. Arsenal now, something must change. It's as simple as that. Obviously, you're not going to get rid of the Cronkies because there are asses on seats, so that's not going to happen. So something must change. Either you must back the manager and go spend 150 million on 2 players that change your life, or you must sack the manager, get a new face in to win you a league title. There is literally no third solution. This is it now. You have to make a decision. And that's my thoughts.
I want to get Nina's point on this, because her club, we have all criticized the way Chelsea would run. Me, Husam, everyone, in the last 3 years. But if you're looking at it now, do you think it has been successful, Nina? What Chelsea have done? You're looking at it now. Would you rather be an Arsenal now, or Liverpool, or Chelsea?
I'm never going to say that, Mo. But
no, in terms of ownership and the way they run the club,
no,
and
I got
Arsenal,
your question. I got your question, but I think that to answer the
I'd
question.
rather be Chelsea as a Liverpool fan. Go ahead.
Really? Really? Oh.
Just wants
Wait,
the better
Husam,
owner.
you would rather be in our position?
Yeah, he said yes.
Nina, we can have black and white conversations. Go like Liverpool.
No,
are
it's
top,
just really
Chelsea are fourth.
interesting to me because I get the criticism.
You're
you-
this close to
owners.
dominating. You're this close. You're literally this close. Chelsea
And
fans just
also
don't
this
realize.
close to
Very-
everyone saying that none of it worked out if we continue to go down a spiral.
Yes, but if you go sign 2 world-class players, you can dominate for the next 5 years.
Yes, okay. But in terms of Mo's initial question about whether it's successful, I think it's a lot more complicated than saying right now yes or no, because I think it's still a work in progress thing for what they set out to do, the owners, when they took over. And I think everybody, again, me included, I'm not just going to point fingers elsewhere, said that it was a very rash approach to how you kind of run the club and how you go into the windows. And everyone laughed that, we're so erratic and chaotic in transfer windows, but, we rushed to kind of make wholesale changes to the club initially and immediately to a point where it seemed over the top. It seemed too dramatic. And we went through definitely the first 2 seasons of absolutely not backing it because it seemed like it was just for the sake of buying players, just for the sake of bringing in players to sign on these long 7, 8, 9-year deals to look like we have something for the future. And at the time, we didn't understand it. Maybe this season, a lot more things are making sense. But the line is very thin here. And I say that because there are certain players who you can say, okay, that kind of finally makes sense. But then they go through a bit of a bad patch. And it's back to that was a pointless signing, or you should have gone for someone else. And I think that's I can talk about maybe like a Nicholas Jackson. That's kind of why we never went in for an out and out number 9. Husam, you say we could have gone for that kind of one signing that would have changed us and elevated us to that next level for us to be a title challenging team. Maybe that would have been like an actual finished kind of polished out and out number 9, but we decided to stick to that model of going for the Nicholas Jacksons and the players that have had 1-2 good seasons in Europe, not even that maybe, and to give him a chance to come and kind of start from a clean slate with multiple different managers. But I think, again, it's really easy, and maybe some Chelsea fans, and me included, were still apprehensive at the start, saying, well, did we kind of make it a complete window? I think summer, maybe business could have still been done a little bit better. And that's mad to say because my owners are ambitious, have shown that they have kind of the club's best interest at heart, even though at the start it was hard to believe. But now when you see things kind of working out better, we addressed the kind of midfield problem, which was a kind of towards the end of Abramovich. That was something that he kind of left for the new owners to fix. It was a problem that wasn't addressed. We needed refreshment in midfield, like towards the end of Abramovich's tenure as a owner. So lots of things that, yes, were fixed because of ambitious owners, and a lot of things that we still as Chelsea fans will tell you that kind of could have been different. This could have been different. And yeah, they're not going to get it perfect every window, but I could tell you what my targets are now, and I could tell you where the mistakes in maybe the last kind of 2 windows were as well. So I think it's still a very fine line to say whether or how successful this really is. Come towards the end of the season, ask me that again, and I could probably tell you yes or no, because then that means you've had 3 years now where this has kind of been work in progress. We can understand the model a little bit better, but until that end of the season, and with kind of 4 winless games now, it's a little bit harder to tell you whether, all the transfer kind of targets were addressed in the right way. There are kind of frailties still. I don't think that they were very ambitious with our defence, or as ambitious they could have been. And that's a weakness at Chelsea. That's something that can
Can I
trip you
ask
up.
you the reverse question, though? Because it's important to address the other scenario.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that Arsenal and Liverpool both are more likely to fall off than Chelsea?
Damn.
Like this
Allah, I
season?
never thought. Like overall in the next
Ooh.
year or two.
Overall, in
Husam,
general, I'm saying. In
I think
general.
so,
let's
yeah.
say
This
3 years now,
conversation-
we're having this.
this conversation is not about only this season, because
Yeah, I'm
if you
talking
look
about
at this
future.
season,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I
You
get.
are
Okay.
right.
So, in kind of the long term span of things and how things have gone, well, yeah, for sure. Because again, I guess the point you make earlier, Husam, about how ambitious you are in the windows does tell you that, because you look at the results, you look at things, but not even that. And I think when you look at Arsenal, yeah, okay, you can be a bit more ambitious, but I even think you have to look at the manager a lot as well. And maybe that is where, like Husam said, you do have to question some things. And I think there was a kind of an apprehension from Arsenal as a club kind of coming into the season where they were almost too scared to kind of touch anything, tweak anything, because it kind of has shown to work in terms of them getting really close to winning the title in the last couple of years, to a point where they were maybe a bit oblivious to the kind of weaknesses that were emerging and were there, and there should have been things done, questioned Arteta about certain things, and then Arteta actually showed that he himself second-guessed his own kind of ideology and what he kind of set out to do with Arsenal in the last couple of years. So there he was kind of building this thing that made everyone around him and the people supporting him trust him so much, to a point where they said, do you know what, do your thing this season as well. We're not going to question things. And Arteta's actually just suddenly kind of almost had this kind of in mind conflict with himself. And now the owners kind of have to look at him a little bit and ask some questions or offer some different suggestions, because I don't think this is something that he can manage and turn around himself. It's not just like a kind of managerial thing.
Yeah, but that's also one of the reasons why I'd rather be Chelsea now, because I'm looking at the long-term future. Look, I've Kel knows this as well, because she's probably seen me or heard me say this the most, other than Mo. I think this is the last dance season, like, for me. So I'm
unless
enjoying
Salah and Van Dijk sign, ya akhi.
Even
Father
if,
Time will
even if
catch
they
them
do.
eventually. Like,
Yeah,
Arsenal
but
will
even if
catch
they
them.
do,
Who's
Arteta's
gonna catch
better.
Liverpool? City.
Mo,
maybe.
can I? Okay. See, because you guys always like to do this. Are we gonna have Salah have 38 JA in December again? No,
No.
we're not. Exactly. So that's the point.
And Father Time is
Yeah,
coming.
but he's not gonna
whether we
fall
wanna
off to
accept it
the
or not.
point that you're gonna. Sam, if you
It's
don't,
not
if
about
you,
Salah individually falling off. Mo, you're missing the point.
I think
Salah
I am
drops off-
missing the point.
Okay, I'll tell you the point. Salah drops off a little bit. Van Dijk drops off a little bit.
You
Trent
sign.
goes- Wait,
You're
wait.
gonna sell
wait.
Nunes and sign
Wait,
everyone.
wait. Trent drops off.
Why
Trent
are we
goes-
assuming that Liverpool will not sign anyone? Why are we assuming this? You signed. You actually went in a summer. You signed 3 midfielders in one summer. Why are we assuming that Liverpool will not go out of their way in this summer?
We
and
sold
back Salah
90
with a new
million
guy?
worth of
Yeah,
talent.
and you did it. But the
We
summer
bought
before,
Federico Chiesa with no knees.
Sam, don't be dramatic, right? You didn't sign. That's fine.
I think
Wallahi,
they
I'd
only
rather be
sign when
Chelsea.
like something
Yeah,
is
Habibi,
super
okay, I
dire.
agree with you. I agree with you because the ambitious owners. But you can't tell me that now the news are coming up that are willing to sign Darwin Nunes. They aren't going to go out and get a striker to back Mohamed Salah. You aren't going to go and sign a defender. You aren't going to go and sign another guy. You are assuming the worst to make your point. You're saying that Liverpool will
Okay,
not
I'm
sign
assuming, you know what,
anyone.
let me tell you the real scenario. Right now,
Yes.
it's
Real
January
scenario,
9th.
please.
January 9th. Joe Gomez is injured. Kwanzaa's texting Astrid, and he's injured as well. And Konate is made from Weetabix. We need a centre back. Where's my centre back?
Mahmoud, you're assuming the worst that they aren't going to sign.
See how he starts stuttering now. What?
Yeah, Habibi, you aren't listening. You are assuming that Liverpool in the summer will not sign anyone. I'm assuming that Liverpool at least next summer will sign 3 players: a forward, a centre back, and a midfielder.
But I get Husam's concern, though. I get Husam's concern because at the start, when Liverpool had went in, I don't know, almost 10 games conceding as few goals as they did, that's where you had the solid Konate Van Dijk partnership at the back. That was really key to them taking off as good as they did as well, because they were scoring goals, but they were also defending. And we all know that to win a title, you need to have a good defense. So I get Husam's kind of concern there that needs to be strengthened, because Liverpool have become easier to score against, and that's evident in recent games. So I get why he is concerned there. And we all know you can't outscore your opponents every single game to win games. So yeah, you can concede, but I think that is a real issue to look at there. So that's where you can say there are cracks. Yeah.
Before I do the super chat, let me ask everyone here, who's the club that is your most worried? If you are looking from outside, remove your fan hat and look from outside. Who's the club you're most worried about for the future?
Chelsea.
Honestly.
In terms of what, like doing good?
Yeah, of course. The aim for big clubs, Jess, is to win the trophies, right? That's the aim for big clubs.
Because I didn't know if you were asking like the most worried.
Yeah,
I'm
a good way or a bad way.
telling you guys, exclude Man United and exclude Spurs.
So to do which club we're scared of will do the better. Like,
which club you're looking at, you're worried about because they're gonna fall off? Which club out of the City?
That's what I was trying to clarify. That's what I was trying to clarify.
Okay. Which club?
Us, absolutely. Of course, I'm scared.
Even though you challenged 2 back-to-back years and you were 2 points behind the leaders, Man City. Why? Because based on Husam's logic, it's supposed to be Liverpool because they're aging squad. They're signing people.
No, because at the very least, like at the very, very least with Liverpool, they actually have been able to identify and create a team that can get to 90 points, 99 points. And they actually went up against the hardest version of City that I think we've ever seen. And they did win trophies, major trophies in that time. They identified a world-class manager. They brought in another good manager. So even though, like, I get what Husam is saying, his problems are like rich people problems. My problems are not rich people problems. We are broke.
I get that. I will back
broke.
up on that.
Yeah,
Your honor is not that much more than
This is the wild. This is the wild.
Calling somebody with Walmart money poor.
No, let me land really quick.
Like corporate Walmart money.
Husam is actually like
oil money.
I've seen our team win the Premier League because I'm old, right? But that was a million years ago. He's actually watched his team win a Champions League, a Premier League, and again against the best City side we've ever seen. When we were going up against City, they already were starting to show a little bit of those cracks. It wasn't bad, but they were not as good as they were against. They didn't have to ever get to like 90 points to beat us, right? We are not in finals. We haven't won an FA Cup in 5 years. We haven't won no Carabao Cups, nothing. So yeah, it's us, because not only have we don't have the money that like a Chelsea or a City have, but we also don't have a great sporting director, which Liverpool have had at a certain period of time. We don't have a world-class manager, with Liverpool have had at a certain time. We are far away. And this is why I tell Arsenal fans all the time. They're like, oh, well, we challenged for 2 years. I'm like, that's not the goal. As an Arsenal fan, if you've ever watched a good Arsenal team, not only do they challenge for the league, they win it, and they maybe win another trophy. That's what Arsenal are supposed to be. Not just challenging. That ain't nothing. That's Spurs. And so absolutely, we are going into that category of like bridesmaid, never the bride, nearly men type of thing. It's us. It's us. They're about to, literally right now, they're considering hiring Thomas Rosicky as our sporting director. Do you know how crazy that is to hire Mikel's friend? If Edu as an invincible couldn't get his like opinions across and was getting ran over by Mikel, what is Thomas Rosicky going to do? I fear it's the beginning of the end, my friends. Mo, put me on the other show. What's the other show? The mid-table show. You're going to be putting me on that. It's over. I've seen this before. I've seen Arsenal build a good team, be 2 players away. Remember, 40+1. All we needed was a freaking striker, and we didn't get it. And we let the project fall apart, and then we start over. Because the Crunkies love a project. Because when you're in the project stage, nobody cares. I'm tired of a project.
And fans are behind. The fans are really good. Arsenal fans love a project as well in the stadium. They love the excitement.
Pressure. They love it. And I hate it. I just want to win. I don't care. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, it's us. It's us. We're the ones.
Let me do the super chats, guys. This is so depressing. Twinny Hardway is saying Kvara available for £67 million. If Arsenal are serious, they at least make
a bit depressing. I think it feels over here then, mate.
Habibi, you are top of the league.
This guy feels depressing listening to it.
You won trophies at least. I think that's the difference.
No problem. We'll speak. We'll speak.
We'll
speak when the walls when the wheels fall off. No worry.
If you look, okay, Husam, we'll talk. If Liverpool lose
next
the league,
Tuesday, we go away to Forest. You will see.
We will see. I wish nothing but Liverpool win because of Salah, and you know that. I wish nothing but Liverpool win for Mohamed Salah only.
Nina, you're smiling too much at my misery. I don't like this.
I'm not. I was actually trying to fight your case earlier when you lost your head at what Jess said. I was trying to back her there and say that a difference and a big kind of strength you've had one up on other teams in kind of recent years as well is you've kind of carried these kind of backbone players season in, season out that have stuck around. And there's no, but Husam, you laugh, but it's true when she said that you have rich people problems. You have had, like, especially me as a team. That's something I'm jealous. You're jealous of me. Do you know what I'm jealous about you, Husam, and your team is that you have these kind of experienced players that have been with you, and there's a bit of longevity there now with certain players you look at. You know, like your Van Dijks, your Salahs, your Trents, your Robos, your Alissons, etc. For me, all those players have not been around for a long time. I've seen such big turnover in my squads that I miss, you know, kind of having that affinity with that one player that's been around at my club for more than 3 years. Okay, so let me just tell you that is one thing that you can be quite proud of
Let me-
them.
Fair
Yes.
enough,
Can I-
These
fair.
games and no
Fair.
one else.
Let me finish this
Are you
super chat.
feeling better?
I have a question that a lot of people will get triggered with. If Arsenal are seriously at least make a bit, game-changing talents like him are never available in January. You have to try, which is what Jess just said.
Never.
Go and try.
Liverpool
Submit
got
a
all the
bid.
players.
Do something. Show the fans that you're ambitious. Just submit a bid. Get it rejected. Kvaratskhelia, get it rejected. But at least show the
Yeah.
fans.
Show the intent.
Nunes will cook in this Arsenal team. No, he won't. Arteta, please come and get him.
They
Available
already
for
have
50
Nunes.
million.
They have
We will throw in an Indo as well as a freebie.
I'm down.
Uh,
I'm down.
I like Nunez.
If Arsenal sign Darwin
you already
Nunes,
have
I'm
two
gonna get him.
Nuneses though,
I-
and Kai
I'm gonna
Havertz
get
and
the
Gabriel Jesus. Do you really want
Exactly.
a third?
I'm gonna get
Your
the
heart
Nunes.
cannot take that. I promise you. Your heart
Listen, I'm
cannot
gonna get
take
the
that.
Nunes Arsenal shirt here. I'm gonna hang it right up here. I'm gonna write above it, "Thank you, Arsenal." Like I'm gonna have
Make
it
sure
like,
you don't
"Thank
buy
you.
a real one.
You changed my life." Big
BHA
up.
that.
Big up AMD. Thank you, Aboud Habibi. Thank you so much for the super chat. We have one of the highest wage structures with one of the smallest squad. Indicates insufficiency in squad management and resource allocations. Ownership and management are incompetent, in my opinion. Ownership is a major issue. It was okay. I'm gonna have to say this about Arsenal, and Jess can answer this as well. Do you believe, like there are a lot of people, that Arteta has a lot of power, that people just easy to throw the ownership under the bus, while Arteta have a lot of power at Arsenal? Because everyone saying it's ownership issue. Well, Arteta assembled this team. He's the one who wanted Kai Havertz. He's the one who wanted Jesus, Zinchenko, and everyone.
It's everybody is culpable. I think what frustrates me is when people pretend like Mikel is being held back, like he has one hand behind his back and they're just not supporting him. I'm like, there's very good information, reliable information from journalists you guys love that says that he has a lot of power. He is actively the main person choosing the sporting director. He is not some innocent little whatever. And I was telling somebody this the other day that, like, honestly, I like the structure that we were going with Emery, because I like the structure where the manager is just a coach. I felt like we had the wrong coach, but if we had just replaced him and, replaced Raul because he was doing whatever, I prefer that. Sporting director, CEO, coach, and you get what they want. Because remember, under Raul, as much of like whatever you want to call him, we got Saliba and we got Martinelli. Those are two players that I don't know if you get with Mikel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He wouldn't get them. I doubt he would scout them. He would
he
get in the
wouldn't
team.
get those. So I think there was positives in that structure regardless. Like, because I didn't like when Arsene had all that power. Once David Dean left, this club slowly went down and crashed and burned. The more power one person has, I think the worse we are. But for some reason, they decided when Arteta came
That's
in.
for
that they
every
were
club, by
gonna
the way.
give him-
For every club.
Yeah, they're going to give him the same amount of power that Arsene had without the credentials. Because as much as people talk about Arsene won trophies. He won the Premier League multiple times during a Sir Alex Ferguson era.
3 times, yes.
Yeah, so let's be serious for 5 seconds. Why is a novice manager having so much power? This is not about calling him a cone man or Pia Pulis or being whatever. I'm just saying, like, in general, why do you have so much power if you don't know what you're doing? You've never done your job before. Why don't you have somebody watching over you? Why is there not a more experienced person? All of your coaches are younger than you. Your CEO was somebody that was doing sponsorships, and then we gave him the job for 5 years. Your sporting director is a novice. You're going to hire an even more green sporting director after this. Why? And it doesn't mean that like we're the worst team in the world. We've gotten a lot of things right. You have to get a lot of things right to be in a title race, but football moves quickly and it will leave us behind in the next couple of years if they don't fix something. And you can't, like Husam said, you can't get rid of the owners.
Yeah, you can.
You can't get rid of the owners. So what are you
Arsenal have the best defensive striker in the league. The second coming of Bergkamp. They don't need any signings up the arse.
I see
Keep doing this joke. Never see this to amaze me, actually. When someone tweeted we have the best defensive striker in the league, I think this is when you know they're done. Khalas, you're done. Thank you, C, for the super chat. Look at January 24th versus 25. We scored more this season, the same number of points. No one denies a forward needed, but don't jump off the cliff with other lemmings. Okay, so trader IQ, I get what you're one of the positives. You want to look at the positives. I get it. But I want you to say and look, like, tell me Let me ask Kelk, are Arsenal the same as last season? You win a title race with them, Kelk.
No.
Do you
they
think this
aren't.
Arsenal team are the same as last season?
No, they look like they're playing scared right now. And I don't understand why, because we've seen from this exact group of players that they can play expansive, exciting football. I know they're missing Saka, which is a big part of it, but I don't think that just means the whole team has to shut shop and go home just because of one player.
Yeah.
So I get it. He's a very important player. And I know how that feels to lose your most important player. It's very tough.
Arteta is just tinkering way
He's
too
just
much. He
being
changed the
scared.
system. He just
think
changed this.
Yeah, he needs,
let me
but
just-
also Odegaard needs to pick his form up because Odegaard doesn't look good right now. And that's one reason why they're not scoring goals is he's not really creating them. And then the same problem as last season. They don't really have a bagsman to consistently score those chances. But last season, he found a solution. And I thought it might be a little better this season.
It's exactly the
number
super
5 is
chat.
back, but
It's exactly the super chat. Arteta just tinkering way too much. He changed the system even though he found a successful one. End of the season, you won 16 out of 18 games. Why did you change? Why the start of the season is not a continuation of last season? Why? You had all summer to actually make it better in the summer.
That's a little Pep influence. Because
Yeah.
Pep does that a lot because he's always afraid of getting found out. And so he changes it to keep
And not
everybody
even that.
guessing. And since Arteta has come from the Pep school of learning how to become a manager, he's
It's-
fixing a problem that's not a problem yet. He's trying to fix it before it
Literally,
before it becomes
Arteta
a
tried to
problem. I'm
fix
like,
the
let it become a
problem.
problem first because you look pretty damn good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, because this is absolutely spot on. He tried to fix a problem that wasn't a problem at the end of the season. You literally lost the league on 2 points. Continue with the same thing. And then
Yeah,
Yes,
like I
he-
said, that's all Pep. Pep does the same thing because he's just always afraid of being found out. But Pep is more
he
experienced
doesn't
doing that. He's
win.
been doing that for 10, 15 years, and Arteta has not. So and Pep actually knows how to do it because that's what Pep does at the beginning of every season. He figures out the new system, and then that's why we always won every game at the end of the season, just because Pep had figured out the new system that nobody could figure out. So Arteta I think he's trying to do that, but
I don't know.
If it's going on long enough. He should just go back to the expansive football. I mean, I think he has enough people in place to go back to that.
I don't know.
Yes, and he has a back line that should prevent goals, but they're actually not performing. I was hearing talk of going after Chelsea's defensive record with Saliba and Timber and Calafiori and all them, and that was.
But then, I mean,
yes.
I think we still are, like, despite Kelly saying we're not that good defensively right now. We're the best defensive team in the league. We are.
I thought Liverpool still had that.
We're either drawn with because they
do.
just conceded, like, we conceded like what, 1 goal or something last week. They conceded what against
Who?
Man
Is it
United?
that close of a margin?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is what I'm saying, like, we're good defensively. And so technically the way that we're the players that we have that are defensively really good, we have a lot of them. You should be able to be more expansive and give them more responsibility. And Arteta doubles down on a more pragmatic system that doesn't allow unclinical forwards to score goals. If you want to play this way, you need to have clinical forwards up front that can operate off of 1 or 2 chances a game, because that's what you're offering them. But he wants to have a pragmatic system and also have unclinical forwards, which for me is like the worst equation you could ever have. It's something I've never seen at Arsenal before, is no good attackers and also playing pragmatic. Because Arsene, he had non-clinical attackers. We've had players in our team that miss good chances, but we always played open. And yeah, you concede more goals, but if you have Saliba and Gabriel and Declan Rice and Timber, then why can't you throw an extra? We literally attack with like 3 players. That's it. You'll see like 6 defensive players on the other side and our 3 players. He will not commit men forward. He plays with 2 DMs instead of 1. Mistiring, and it's not working. So yeah, we're really good defensively, despite even having like a weird season. Throw more men forward. They need that to perform because these guys don't have it.
And
They
he's
don't
been taking And he's been taking like for like as well in a lot of games where he's made substitutions. And I think I've seen it in games where you're literally drawing, you know, have some ambition, come out there, you know, you've been title challenging, you should have the kind of agency or at least the confidence to think you can get something out of the game. But he's bringing off midfielders.
Defenders.
Yeah, in the same department. I'm thinking just
there and he puts a defender on.
And Nina, he used to do that. And I know that like these players weren't amazing. Because we won games late in games in that first season that we challenged with Jesus and Nketiah. He would take off a fullback and bring on Nketiah and have like 4 or 5 attackers going at once, and we won.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
Now he switches out the DM for the DM. He'll take, you know, Party out and put Jorginho in. He'll take MLS out and put Zinchenko in. He has regressed in terms of his style and his openness, and you know, he's regressed a lot. And if he's first of all, Mikel, I'm traumatized, so I know you're traumatized. Go see some therapy, because this is not it, honey. You can't be doing this at the Emirates. It's just not working. Because eventually the apathy is going to set in. And I know Arsenal fans like the back of my hand. They will not boo in the stadiums, but what they do, they'll empty it. They're going to empty it.
Oh.
And at home is where you should be going for it too. Like I understand that pragmatic attack when you're away, but when you're at home, that's when you really should be going for it. So I don't know why he's
they're so afraid. They're so afraid to lose. You could just see it. They're so afraid to lose a game. They won't go for it.
And
they
the
don't
draw
even express
really
themselves anymore.
I know title race draws are what kill you.
Yeah, I know that some of these
knows.
I know that some of these players are not world class. Don't get me wrong. But when you see players on like Fulham and Forest and Bournemouth, these are not world-class players that actually express themselves and play a good brand of football. There's no excuse, even with the Martinellis that nobody rates, the Kai Havertz, whatever. There's no excuse. Like, we should be playing a better brand of football than what we're doing right now. And those players just don't express themselves. It's really sad to see, because if you've ever played football at any level, as an attacker, you have to be having fun. You must. If you're not, they look like they're going to a funeral. It's sad.
Yeah.
Can we get off Arsenal?
Yeah,
you
can
tell.
I wanted to touch on Chelsea because we have Nina here. We don't have every week. KSE have had majority ownership since 2011.
Yeah, Nina's busy now. She's on to bigger things. She's celebrity. Yeah, she's celebrity.
You're the celebrity.
Stuck with peons like me.
I'm the celebrity. I'm a humble young man. I've never been a celebrity ever.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Humble and Jordan. Right.
Facts.
Humble, no. Young,
Humble.
no. KSE have had majority ownership since
Oh, you're
2011.
literally 40. How can you call me not young?
Better looking than you. KSE had a majority ownership since 2011.
Dirty is approaching.
For it. 14 years of mediocrity. Has Arsenal won anything in 14 years? Yeah, that cup with Mikel Arteta.
They won the FA Cup, right? I think
two cups, right?
they've won.
Yeah, we've won it a couple of times. Yeah.
Absolutely. Got AMD. I don't know how. My question is just, how do younger people support Arsenal from outside of UK in the last 10 years? How
you know what's funny? People last season were saying I had an agenda against Arsenal. I called them boring. I turned into Troops' watch along and he literally fell asleep before the ASAC.
That's actually for real. He fell asleep. He said that.
Bro, I know. I called him. I actually called him.
Newcastle, Newcastle are fun to watch.
He actually fully
figured out how to play.
Last couple of games, even Raya has been hesitant.
You're talking about who to be scared of? We should all be scared of Newcastle.
Not
probably
really.
the next 5 years. Because they make they make Sheikh Mansour look like poor. So we should be very
Raya has been hesitant in his passing from the back. I feel Arteta telling the players do not lose. Why? Jess literally just explained this. I think he's scared of losing. And Husam has been, by the way, Husam has been saying this from
traumatized.
Husam has been saying this from game week 1 and Arsenal. Not worried. Edu going to Tottenham Forest and be good for them. I know what you're talking about. No, Edu going to Nottingham Forest is a good thing.
Last season, because if he had played to win that game, they probably would have won the league.
AMT, it's a good thing for Nottingham Forest, just to let you know.
Here's the thing. We will see based on results. If Edu goes to Nottingham Forest and he makes 4 smart signings in a row, everyone's going to go like, oh, so Arteta's the problem then. We will find out once and for all.
So,
Also,
Chel-
Forrest,
Sam had a
very
lot-
ambitious owner.
Some had a
There's-
lot of questions for Nina about Chelsea
Okay,
for
Nina.
whatever reason. Did you have questions for Nina about the 4 games too? I actually do. What
What
happened?
about that Ipswich game?
Let's have them. What are the questions, guys?
2
What's the questions? No, don't do that, Nina. You're trying to look at. She's smiling already. Trying to get away
waiting
from
to
it.
answer the question.
No.
I, Nina, since the last time we met, you have 0 wins in 4 games.
2
Can you
points and
address
12
the
points.
They're on a
audience of
title
this
race for
lovely
2
show
weeks.
and
As I
explain to them what the
expand,
hell happened? That's the question.
What the hell happened?
Where's
very good
Palmer?
questions. A lot of questions. Well, actually, Palmer has scored one of the 2 goals that we've scored from the last 4 games, so he's been there at least. But yeah, no, we've gone through a bit of a dip, and it was expected. And I said that we wouldn't go out. Last time we were here, you guys were asking me if we were in a title race, and you were saying, "Oh, what do you mean you're not in a title race?" And I said that it's expected that we will hit a dip in the road because our results have been great. I said at the start of the season that I'm worried about our defence, and I'm worried that we have defensive frailties which were masked over by the 3, 4, 5, 6 goals we were scoring per games. But unfortunately, that can't happen every game. And when you have teams coming at you with the press from the front, with the consistency of asking you questions and forcing errors out of you, you get punished for it. So we've seen that, and I was talking to you guys earlier about the fact that I wasn't completely happy with our transfer window, and I still think that the fact that we never really replaced someone like a Thiago Silva in that back line will come back to bite us, because we have a lot of defenders that are kind of learning on the job, and we have a lot of players who don't feel quite comfortable in that back line, and we just needed someone who could tie that whole back line in so we can have a little bit of solidity and consistency. It's been rare where we've kept clean sheets, so that does reinforce my point that we do have defensive frailties, and teams that have come like Fulham, who were so aggressive, Husam can tell you, Fulham come at you with chances. They had the end product against us, and of course, Jess, actually you too, so I can come out and say that, because you did draw against them as well, didn't you? But no,
I'm the only one who beat him. Hey,
the truth
This is
is
shocking.
that it was also exposed by the fact that our attackers just couldn't finish their dinner in these last games, and we knew we'd be frustrated at Goodison. I told you guys that would be... Actually, I think that was that week was the last time I was on the show, and I was telling you that would be a challenge in itself, and we didn't overcome it. And that's where the kinds of frustrations with our front line and how we couldn't just finish those chances really came back to bite us. Fulham, I said I gave credit to Fulham. It was a fact that we were poor in that game. Again, Fulham were the much better team. I said they deserved that win. Ipswich away was really unacceptable. Again, I gave them credit, but it was credit to them for forcing out errors. Yeah, okay, the penalty, but then even after the penalty, it didn't really look like we could come out with something new, anything. And then we did talk about Maresca, because Maresca has not been very proactive in these games. So that's where his name was raised a little bit, because, when things aren't working on the pitch, we do have the luxury of a decent bench. Not always, but we have, and look to it to bring something on, to bring some fresh legs on. And I'm not too sure why he was a bit reluctant to make changes. And then we kind of said, okay, next game then we want to see a little bit of a reaction, a little bit of change. And then it was another draw against Crystal Palace. So yeah, not the greatest. That's 2 draws against Palace this season, and Selhurst Park is always a place that we do well at. So why is it in a season where, we're doing very well that we were frustrated? So yeah, I think questions with finishing our chances, massive questions with defence that has been on the table for me since the start of the season. I've never been oblivious to the fact or said that we have a good defence. We don't. So that's where I'm looking at. Those are my priorities. This year we need to bring in some experience, and I want that experience to come and slot into that back line, because there's really a lot of miscommunication. There's a lot of kind of letting your man go. There's a lot of moments where you fall asleep, and teams that will press high, that will be so kind of relentless in attack, will force those errors out as they have. So I'm excited for Morecambe this weekend, guys. Hopefully a win for Chelsea, because we've winless in 4. So I'm excited for the game, Stamford Bridge Saturday. But then I look at the league.
Why are you linked with Mainoo if you want a striker and a
Yeah, before we get to Mainoo, because you're before we get to Mainoo,
Yeah,
Nina, your next game is against Bournemouth, who's also your bogey team.
that's
So,
right.
Sorry,
They-
expected
this
a win.
season, too.
Like
They beat everybody.
they've
And
beaten
Bournemouth-
everyone. Like
Bournemouth
we have
are
to
a
keep
good
this in
side,
mind.
yeah. I know, and actually Bournemouth away was
They're
one of
almost
our
everybody.
most difficult games this season. You know, we grabbed one late to get a result there. So I'm looking at Bournemouth. Even in the last couple of years, they've come to Stamford Bridge and they've caused us all sorts of issues. And I do worry that if we don't, again, finish the chances we create, Bournemouth are a team that can come out on top. So again, if we're looking at them, you could say there are competitors right now as well, because we're not that far in terms of points.
Aw.
We well, no,
You can be
guys,
6. You can be 6 if you don't win.
You're
Exactly, there
so
you go.
dramatic. You're
It's
so
so-
dramatic. Did you just call Bournemouth your competitors? You're so dramatic, Nina.
Well, we're looking
You're
at
so
the
much
They're 3
points,
better than
points
me,
right?
behind
honestly.
them. They're
Season.
3 points behind them.
So
We're
much
looking at
better
the
than
points,
this.
right? So the points I'm saying are so marginal in the league this year that from top 4 to no, it's true, Husam, you laugh, but to 8th, 9th is that there is a marginal difference there. Winning and losing does make you kind of drop spaces, and at the moment, Forest are 4 points ahead in 3rd place, so we're not that comfortable right now with our position there. So I'm realistic. I'm looking at teams like Newcastle, who are on a great run of form. They look dangerous, you know. Man City are there, and you know you're scared of Man City. So why is it that I can't fall further down if results don't go our way? So yeah, I think we're being very realistic. We want to see a reaction. We want to see some proactiveness from Maresca as well. I said that we'll know truly how much he's done as a manager when we see how he overcomes adversity. This is it. It doesn't really get any more kind of difficult than 4 winless games when you've been as high flying as we have been. But there are weaknesses there, and we're here to fix them. So like Mo's question earlier, is this project successful? We'll find out at the end, because that's when we'll see exactly what we've achieved this season, if those kind of targets that we set have been
What is the
achieved.
targets then? Targets? Top
Top
4?
4, win a trophy. Yeah. There you go.
Win a trophy. That's a conference league. Do you count the conference league as a trophy though?
Is it not a trophy?
Well, it's not.
Declan Rice does.
I'd love to win an FA Cup. That is my personal thing. I'd love to win an FA Cup, but there you go.
FA Cup or a conference league is better, right? FA Cup for sure.
Well, I think the
FA
conference
Cup
league
is better than that
bit
conference league.
not to sound like, you know, woo, but everyone expects Chelsea to win the Conference League.
Yes, exactly.
The FA Cup is the one that has tripped us up, and we've not won a domestic cup in ages. So winning at Wembley for me would be
Hey,
massive.
as long as you don't face Liverpool in the final, it should be good.
Also, Villa was supposed to win the Conference League last season and they didn't. So you just never know.
Yeah.
The only
Listen,
team I
I'm-
think I should worry about is in there. There's an Italian team and there's Fiorentina.
Fiorentina is the only team
I
that
was
you should
looking
be
at the
worried
name
about.
and I was like,
Fiorentina's the only team.
not. You must.
Yes, you
You
must. That
You
is
must.
a you must. You must win the Conference League.
You must.
Yes, just like
It's-
Jess must win the league. We acknowledge this. You must win the
It's
conference.
impossible.
If this form continues for
I don't know,
Chelsea
that's
and
the
then
thing.
comes January or February and Chelsea are 6 or 7, is Maresca at risk? Like Poch?
No.
I think they'll give
Why
Rice
not?
that chance.
Can I ask why not?
I'll
Why not?
answer that because he's shown what he can do with the, the group of players that the owners were ambitious with, and the model, he can actually do something with them. And he actually can put together a cohesive team with the players that he was given, because I've already seen it. So no matter kind of how the next sort of results unfold, obviously I want us to win, we have to win, yes. But I've seen what this team is now capable of. I've never seen this team under Pochettino perform like that ever. I'm talking same players, same. Do you know what I mean? As a collective, I've seen what Maresca can do with the group of players. So that's already why I can answer that
What
question.
if he falls out? The Pochettino at the end of the season were the 3rd best team in the country.
Because we won 4 games on a streak of 4 games on the bounce.
And he
What about
made
that?
you.
Was, huh?
But so Pochettino at the end of the season was were the best, the 3rd
You're
best team in the
clutching at
country.
straws here. You're clutching. straws.
Yeah,
No,
and
I'm not telling you,
gonna
because
call that,
Ziad
but
said-
Pochettino
because
never
Zi-
reached
Ziad-
this
because
level
Ziad-
of consistency with his team.
If they finish 6th or 7th, to be honest with you, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm like looking at Maresca, I'm like, you really were given better team than.
No, I
And-
think,
and
listen,
Pochettino.
Nina's been objective about this, but the problem isn't Nina. The problem is the other Chelsea fans. I think if they finish outside top 4, most of them would want him gone. I can lie to you.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the big
Yeah.
problem is their
For the
fan
players-
base is pretty brutal. So
Yes.
For the
Very
players'
well.
sake, they need some consistency with the manager because they've already had like 3 or 4 managers in the past 2 seasons. So
Who
it would really
cares about
benefit them to keep the
consistency?
I
same
feel like
manager
that's
for
a
more than
healthy
1
way
year.
though.
No one-
I feel like
no
they'll
one
sack a
cares.
manager.
I know.
I don't think Chelsea should care about the manager, to be honest. I think just hire and fire it have been working for them, and I think they should continue with it, to be honest.
What's interesting
I
It's
think
been
Maresca
working
better
under a
than
completely
the case
different.
for Maresca.
Bro, here's the thing. Chelsea, okay, I'll tell you the story of Chelsea. Chelsea had Ranieri for 4 years. They built up a team and a squad that's at least top 4 level. Then they bring in Mourinho, and then they have that world-class spine. The reason why Chelsea were successful for a 20-year period was, in that 20-year period, they had that spine for most of it. For the most successful part of it, for a 15-year period, for a 12-year period, 13-year period, they had the Terrys and the Lampards and the Drogbas. And they built around that. And they went and they spent money on the next big thing every single summer around that. Like, people don't know this, but like Chelsea could have even won more. Like, there were years where they were in a Champions League final and a Carabao Cup final, and they could have won the league on the last day as well, and they lost all 3 that season. Ancelotti, they win the double, they sack him at Goodison Park. There's plenty of stories behind everything that went on at Chelsea, but the truth of the matter is, every single one of them, like players that they signed during that Abramovich era, they could not have done that without building the spine already. So when you say they've sacked and hired and sacked and hired, let's look at the clubs that have sacked and hired for the last 20 years. Who? Madrid, Bayern, Chelsea. They've all had world-class spines to work around with. You know, if I'm talking about the successful ones, like ultra successful, like win a lot more. Don't take it as personally. I'm talking about win a lot.
No, we haven't won a lot. So
yeah, so I'm saying like winning a lot of trophies and stuff. They've had something to build around. Chelsea don't have that now. It's not like they've got 3, 4, 5 world-class players they're going to build around them. We could have been that club that sacks and hires, as an example, because we have a spine, we can build around it, but we don't spend the money as Abramovich does.
I'm looking at Maresca, to be honest. I agree with Nina in terms of like he has shown me tactical flexibility in the beginning of the season. He won a lot of games and everything. But if that goes out of the window in the second half of the season, if he's been found out, he's a novice manager. He's an amateur manager. If they keep him, they might be making an Arsenal mistake. Give the guy money, build, and then reach nothing. That might be, you might look at Arsenal and learn from that. Yeah, he has shown good qualities and good things, but you look at your neighbors and you say, oh, you stuck with that novice manager and they reached nothing in the Cartmonis after 5 years. Giving him so much money. That is my only worry for Chelsea, to be honest, Nina. My only worry for Chelsea is that you hired an experienced manager before in Thomas Tuchel. He won you the Champions League. That by itself is an achievement. By the way, it's your second. And that is enough for Thomas Tuchel. If you keep Maresca, I will bet that Maresca will turn it around. You know why? Because I'm looking at the links. You're linked to by the way, Chelsea now, just in the last hour while we're live, are actually pushing for Marguehi.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking to offload Disasi to get Marguehi on the books. I think that's a good enough signing. Kobe Mainoo links is good. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Kobe Mainoo is a very good link for you. We're not staying for long. Kobe Mainoo is a very good link. I don't know why are Chelsea linking or going for Kobe Mainoo. I would think a striker and a centre back is better, Nina.
I feel like it's agent driven, is it not?
It's an opportunistic. Jess, Chelsea have been an opportunistic signings for the past like year. You see the opportunity they sign.
I feel like the Mainoo thing is more like agent driven, but they're never gonna let Mainoo go.
No, and they'd be foolish to as well. Yeah. So that's not happening.
Money talks. Money talks.
I don't think so. I actually don't think so, especially with with what's going on at Man United and the fact that, you know, they've looked to Mainoo as this kind of saviour figure as well, and he's been one of the few exciting things at their club in recent time. And, you know, he's young. There's no way. I agree with Jess. And for me, I'm not even really taking or giving this kind of news time of day because I don't think it's going to happen. And I think that, you know, Chelsea will also be smart with this because there's quite a few loanees out that we can have back, and we've sent out on loan because there is potential there for them to kind of play and come back and hopefully slot into Chelsea's team. You know, I'm talking about Santos here. There is a player there. We've kind of been testing him out, and there's a reason why we've changed his teams as well, because he wasn't getting much game time. He's getting a lot more now, and that's showing. It's improving him. So I think there is a kind of vision there to bring him back. So you look at maybe you might rationale with the fact that Romeo Lavia is injured and there's a question mark on his return. But again, that was a very kind of ambitious signing then. We were really, really adamant to sign him. I don't think that there is really any point in Mainoo anyway. I think that he's a great player, but he will stay at United. And yeah, they'd be foolish to let him go. But obviously,
I really hope that he goes to Chelsea, by the way. For the sake of the kid. Yeah, yes.
Why is that?
I've said this to Terry yesterday. I was with Terry Mustafi yesterday, and we were talking about Kobe Mainoo, and I said, for the betterment of the kid, I want him to go to a team where he's going to develop. And I think Chelsea at the current moment are a better environment for younger players to do. He's 19 years old. He has amazing talent. Man United are not in a good place to develop players. I think he would develop at Arsenal. I think at Liverpool, Chelsea, more stable teams and more. Like, I'm not saying that Man United are not a big team or a big club or anything, but they aren't acting like a big team. It's so much pressure on 19 years old now to develop. You get my point? Like, imagine if he goes at Chelsea, plays next to Caicedo and Palmer, maybe even Enzo Fernandez, a World Cup winner. I'm not saying that Enzo is fantastic, but he's more experienced than Kobe Mainoo. Imagine if he's going there and he's not being asked to carry a midfield. And with all due respect, he's not playing next to a captain of Bruno Fernandes, who I don't think is the right material to be a captain at any club. If he goes, Kobe Mainoo, and I'm not saying Chelsea by itself, but Chelsea is a good place for him now. Chelsea are fourth in the current moment. They are in the Conference League. He has a lot of, there is players around him that he can play with, like I said, as I said. And I think it will be good for him to play at Chelsea. That is my opinion now. I think Man United is not a good environment. So if Chelsea are going to pour 70 million pounds for him, I think he can be a future superstar for you. Him, Caicedo, and Cole Palmer, very good midfield.
It's not a priority though, Mo. That's where I'm looking at. That's money we can spend elsewhere, and that's a really big thing. You know, priority is a massive thing because we're now looking how to take ourselves to the next level with strengthening each department. So we have a kind of collective, equally solid team all across. So that's where I'm looking at defense, maybe attack as well if someone leaves, because that's possible as well. So that's it. I don't think that money and spending it there for Mainoo is really a necessity at Chelsea.
It will be very opportunistic, you know that. It will be if the kid wants to leave. I don't think it's necessary now, but I think you're light in the defense and the striker option more, especially if you get rid of Nkunku now. Let me do a couple of issues before we end the show. For a team that spends over $1 billion, you wouldn't expect Chelsea to be looking for reinforcements, especially since they have two teams. That goes to show it's money wasted. You respond to that.
For a team that spent over $1 billion, you wouldn't expect Chelsea to be looking for reinforcement. Well, reinforcement, yeah, because if you look at the money that we spend, like I said, it wasn't money spent for our defense. For example, you know, we brought in a free agent in summer in the name of Tosin. That was our first signing in the summer. It was kind of like, okay, you're free, we'll take you, you've got Prem experience, but I don't think it's quite translated into the kind of the player that we have needed there in that back line. Yes, we spent a lot of money in midfield and attack, and those departments have kind of really been performing. But again, I look at defense and it's quite underwhelming. A lot of players, fans, will tell you that they probably want us to go in for a goalkeeper at some point as well. You're looking at money spent in a few different positions still in order to kind of bring us up to that level. So yeah, we spent a lot of money. A lot of it is kind of being put to good use. Definitely some of those signings will move on from Chelsea, will, you know, leave. They weren't all successful, that's for sure. But that it's not necessarily that we had perfect windows and that everything was addressed.
Before I do the two super chats, Samuel is saying, Footy Judge Mo, I hope Inter Milan get relegated and AC Milan, Juventus and Napoli rule Italian football and Europe. Sounds like a man salty his club don't spend. Tell me one thing I said, Jardel, that is not logical for Kobe Mainoo. Literally, I said that for the sake of the kid. If you think Man United are a good place now for a player to develop, let me know. Let me know. It's just crazy, actually, how people think about what I say. People think I'm saying this from a hatred towards Man United. Complete bullshit, to be honest. It has nothing to do with Man United. Do you think Chelsea centre-back options are top 4 level? Gehi, what do you think, Nina? Anybody here think Gehi? Okay, let me ask. Gehi's very good.
Gehi's good. Gehi's great. He was one of our few. I'm an England fan. He was one of our brightest sparks at the Euros.
He's the captain for the team
love
that
him.
won the World Cup or something like this.
Huh? Sorry.
Wasn't he the captain for the young team that won the World Cup?
Yeah,
when
he was.
at-
Yeah, and
Oh,
he's
yeah,
got
he's
captain
fantastic.
qualities. He's got leadership
Yeah.
qualities, but also it's. I think Gehi would be great. I think he would be great. I think he could potentially be that because again, I look at experience. Gehi, you can argue now has experience. You know, he's played at international level. He's played in the senior England side. You know, he's there for Crystal Palace. A really, really good addition. I think that Chelsea probably wouldn't spend more than 50 million on Gehi, and I think that is probably acceptable. I think, in my opinion, I'm quite happy, and we have to kind of look at the wages and everything. But I'm not too sure. I would be open to it. I think for me, it depends on the fee.
Yeah, I have
He'll
lost
probably
all
play
hope.
better around better players too.
Yeah.
He's very good. Gehi's very good for
Like he
Chelsea
was
now.
better with
He is
England.
ready.
He was surrounded by better players.
Yeah.
So
Colwell
that
is
can
good
bring
for
out the
him.
best of the player.
I
see it.
think he will be all right with Caicedo in front of him. I think Gehi
Yeah.
will flourish at Chelsea. To be honest, I have lost all hope and real signing experience in this squad. The ownership and sporting directors haven't shown any signs of it.
Sounds like an
Actually,
Arsenal fan.
No, but I actually disagree with this because Neto's experience, Adebayo's experience, I disagree with this, to be honest with you. I think Chelsea now are going to sign experienced player. Mark Gehi is an experienced player, has been for years. So I disagree with this. It looks like the ownership are learning, to be honest. It's just, it's
They
not
are,
all.
no, but I think what this person kind of is referring to is at the start, there wasn't enough experience kind of brought.
But now they are. But now there is, right? Now there is. Now
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah, but then again, if you look at Chelsea, if I tell you guys right now, tell me one experienced player that comes to mind, you would have to think about it. Whereas if you looked at other teams, that it's easier to kind of pick someone a little bit more experienced. I don't know, it's tough because I think everyone is learning in their own way. And even though Tosin on paper has 4 years of Premier League experience and arguably a lot more than the other players, I still wouldn't look at him and say, I can see that you bring experience to this back line. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but he should have brought experience, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, Tosin.
You should
They,
have.
they should
should-
do Gehi plus
4 years
another
at Fulham,
experienced
playing
player.
under Marco
Somebody who's like
Silva.
28, 27, something like that.
I get what you guys are saying, but 4 years under Marco Silva in the Premier League playing top level, I think that is experience. That is you're ready to the next level.
Yeah, it's a lot more than the other players have. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Question for Jess. In the last 20 years, why Arsenal are always 2 steps forward and 2 steps back?
Because I think their owner only cares about top 4. I don't think he really cares about getting them to the #1 spot and staying there. These
Yeah.
American owners, a lot of them, like FSG, too bad Husam's not here for this rant. They care mostly about a top 4 check. They don't really, I don't think they really care about in putting the investment in to sustainably challenge for a title.
I just feel like I've seen this so many times before. I just feel like they just lack the ability to get it over the line. Like they get really close and they make bad decisions because again, when we challenged for the league and then we went on and spent 200 million in the next window. So it's not that they're not spending any money. They spend it poorly when they have it. So yeah, you can't look at the Declan Rice, Havertz, Raya window
And say they're not ambitious, right?
and
Like,
say that that's 200 million. That's the biggest window we've ever had. And quite literally, all you had to do is replace Granit Xhaka with a world-class midfielder and get any striker that's not named Jesus or Kai Havertz, and boom. So I kind of understand they just care about top 4 thing. I kind of understand that thing, but they just, when it's time to get those types of players, they just don't get them. And it's just, I don't know.
Even somebody like Sesko would have probably been
well,
enough.
Cesco's too young. It's too young.
I think he's a better option than Jesus or Havertz, though.
No,
I think you
I
can
don't
still
think it
be
would-
for someone like Sesko, but
Or
maybe in
Vlahovic,
summer.
he's been available forever.
Well, we tried to get
I
Sesko,
don't
but
even think he's that
Arteta told him
expensive.
we tried to get Sesko, but Arteta told him that he wouldn't start over Kai Havertz, and that's the problem. Mikel has too
Showed.
much power,
Yeah.
and he likes that player so much that he wants to double down on it because he
Oh,
knows
yes.
that the midfield experience failed, but as long as he's playing striker, he can say that it worked. His ego.
Exactly what is it? As long, yes, that can't have a thing now, it's becoming a stubbornness thing. It has to work for him.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
prove
Paid all
people
that money for
wrong.
him, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that is the 100% his sign. Because he keeps saying that Zinchenko and Jesus worked because they got him to the top. Now he needs Kai Havertz to work to say that it worked. Whatever position on the pitch, it worked.
Yeah,
And
I mean, he's
it's
our highest
stubbornness.
earner. And Mo, let me just say this one thing because I know you want to
Well-
get going. But in the press conference, when they were asking him about Isak, he said, well, that's what happens when you have real quality up front. And this is why when I'm just so like, I'm tapped out now because I'm like, you're literally watching a team that has, like you said, real quality, but
Yeah.
you're like actively stopping us from getting that type of quality in the team. So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't double down on Havertz multiple times and then turn around and say, well, that's when you have real quality. Because again, you've had money. You've had money. So you're not a victim. It's ridiculous. And I'm
No,
not saying
Arteta's definitely not a victim. No one
No.
can convince me that Arteta's a victim in this,
no,
which
but
is what
there's
some
there's
Arsenal
a
fans
lot
are
of people-
saying.
Exactly. They're acting like I mean, you can't say that. And I agree with Kel with the Sesko thing. As young as he is, our striker options are so bad that even he would, I feel like, offer more than what we're getting. Sorry. He may not be the final
Yeah, even like
answer.
someone like Vlahovic also. That guy seemingly is available every window.
We
but he
shouldn't
never
be this
moves.
arrogant where it's just Isak or nothing. It should not be Isak or die. It really shouldn't. Like
But
we
Isak
should be
even fit that style though.
he's the perfect striker for us, but we're not going to get him. But you don't even need that. Get a Vlahovic, get a Osimhen, our attackers, like our attack is 5th or 6th in the league, if I'm being kind. You don't need Isak to improve.
Without
us.
Saka, you're way below.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Without Saka, you're even way below.
That's a big
It's,
problem.
it's sad.
And that's
Guys,
going to be a
I'm
recurring problem.
never
too,
a shameless
very
plug before.
likely.
I'm actually 14 subscribers away from 28,900, which put me at
Wow.
100 away from 29,000. I really want to
Mo's a
close to
celebrity
that.
now.
I'm not a celebrity. I'm just from here. What a joke argument, brother. Mainoo wants 250K. Palmer is barely on 120K. What are we doing here? It is just an agent bullshit using Chelsea name. It might be, but it's not me. People think I am the one who's breaking down the news. It's all over the news outlets that Chelsea are maybe, and no one has denied it yet. Just go and type Mainoo Chelsea anywhere on Google, even, my man. You're saying maybe it's a joke, maybe it's a terrible argument. But if Man United fans now are open to the idea of selling some of them, maybe that's the case. And by the way, they can offer Mainoo something else, a long-term contract. That's what Chelsea always offer, incentives. Lazy narrative.
United will spend that kind of cash, though. I mean, they're paying Casemiro like $350, so why wouldn't they pay?
They don't want to give the younger. They don't want to give the youngest guy. They are the second highest wage.
Rashford, and we're like,
Kelk, I just want you to think about it. Simply, Man United are 14th in the league. They have the second highest wage bill in the league. It's 14th. So it doesn't match the lazy narrative. Most of the money is spent on a long term. Mass purchase young players, loan them and sell them for profit. Hence, we keep spending. Jimmy, maybe that's the case. But lately, Jimmy, you haven't been. The Neto signing is not. The Sancho signing is a 25 or 35 million.
And yeah,
pounds.
Felix.
That is experience. João Felix is an opportunistic signing for Gallagher. But we'll see how it goes. But I think Chelsea in this window, they aren't going to sign young players. They aren't. They're going to sign experienced players. AMT saying, Havertz 65 million, Isak to Newcastle 63 million. What do you have? Yeah, that was different.
Well, yeah, that's why they would want like 100 million for him because they want to make a profit. But also, if they make Champions League, they don't need to sell either Isak or Bruno. So
yeah, listen, people.
I both miss out on that.
Before we end the show,
you really want Bruno.
Jess, what do you got coming up? You and somebody show your live later. Tell the people, please.
Oh yeah, I'm on Diluted's channel at 6.
She's trying to do the math.
Yeah, 6, I think.
UK 6 UK time, people. She's with Deluded Gunner. If you want to subscribe to her channel's in the description. She knows Arsenal. Fantastic content, but also her Instagram page is booming. Jessica Black
And the
TV.
David Beckham thing was pretty interesting.
She got a David Beckham thing going on there, a
I
reel
like
about
that.
David
That's the
Beckham.
kind of content I'm here for.
She does all the content for La Liga, for the Women's League as well. She's absolutely booming on Instagram, so go and support her on Instagram as well. Great content as always. Nina, what do you got coming up?
No David Beckham things here, but if you're interested in some Chelsea Morecambe FA Cup action, guys, yeah, subscribe to my channel. Lots of Chelsea content and obviously other football
And
stuff.
she's on
there.
Chelsea Fan TV as well. He's on Chelsea Fan TV as well.
Chelsea Fan TV, yeah, check us out there. You can find me yapping outside Stamford Bridge after all the games. So yeah, check out Chelsea Fan TV as well, guys. Thank you.
We
And
actually
subscribe
reached 300 likes, guys, and we are actually 10 subscribers away. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I want to appreciate all the super chatters, Jess, Kilk, Husam, and of course Nina. Fantastic content as well. Every Thursday, hopefully we'll make this. It's kind of like regular now. Thank you, guys. Tonight I'm live at 10 p.m. UK time for a transfer saga news, transfer news. Appreciate everyone that supported the channel. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everyone that is here. This will take it to Husam or him and LB, Ahmed as well. They will absolutely do the content, and Ash. They'll do talk about the title race. So go and support Husam as well. I will see you guys later. And we are out of here, people.